there's actually a chance that Reckless Ben could be saved. It's possible. Brick by brick.
Big update in the bricks and minifigs case as we have an intervention that may end up blowing this wide open. Of course, this is the legal mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. And this has been a wild ride in the case of Reckless Ben, bricks and minifigs, which has now become a massive legal battle.
It's been really bad.
One thing that we've got to pay attention is Reckless Ben's RICO case. He has this massive case that he is now facing, and that is
this is supposed to be for mafias, not Legos.
Coming to a head very soon with hearings on that coming up imminently, like very, very, very soon. And one big decider here is the Law Gormans, which have now filed officially a motion to intervene in this case.
Wow.
Now we're going to explain all about this,
exactly
what that means. But first, this important message.
Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code to take a short quiz to see if you qualify for a case. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000.
Okay, now, here's some context for those that need
Every time I see that bar at the bottom with ads, it always makes me think about people accusing Mr. Beast of making the bar go really fast at the beginning and really slow at the end to make people psychologically stick with the ad because they thought it would go quickly and then slow it down. It's probably one of the smartest things I've ever seen Mr. Beast do. I love Mr. Beast. He's such a rat with that kind of it. And also the thing is it all works. Like, that's the thing is, after everything, it all worked.
Obviously, you've got Reckless Ben. His stolen Lego allegations involve a time when the franchise was owned by Crystal Law and Ben Gorman. That's what we're going to call them, the Law Gormans. Ben confronted several people in Utah, leading to him getting misdemeanor charges. We've also talked about that on my previous videos. Charges like stalking, trespass, disorderly conduct. And on May 30th, 2026, BAM, Bricks and Minifigs Corporate, filed a civil RICO case against Ben, the Mansells, and others, alleging coordinated harassment and extortion. Now, that was huge because that came along with a TRO, a temporary injunction, which really stopped Ben from creating content. And he came out with a video explaining as much.
Episode 3 is finally finished, but I can't post it or I will go to jail. I am no longer allowed to even mention this mystery company.
Now, the Law Gormans have a separate lawsuit, a completely separate from Ben, separate from everything. They have a lawsuit going with BAM Franchising over an alleged wrongful franchise seizure. So they've got this separate lawsuit that they have an interest in going after against BAM. So now what they want to do is they want to come into the case with Ben, with Reckless Ben, and they want to intervene. Now, they are not going to be full defendants or litigate the entirety of the case, but what they're really concerned about is narrowing or dissolving that temporary restraining order that's keeping Ben from speaking.
And that's what's really fucked up about it, too. And also, like, if he has a good lawyer, they're still going to tell him not to make comments on it. But I have a feeling if somebody's name is Reckless Ben, he's going to make comments on it.
So what do we've got here? Well, the first important thing for intervention is that they're not defendants, right? That's key. The other thing is that TRO is overreaching. And by having such a strong restraining order that keeps him from making any videos, that potentially chills free speech, right? It doesn't allow people to publish the truth, to get news out there. And that's very important for them, given their separate fight with BAM, Bricks and Minifigs. And that could impair their ability. That could hurt their lawsuit and their discussion of the facts.
And it also scares other people from talking about it, which is another really big factor. Whenever you have it to where, oh, well, this one guy got sued for talking about this, well, everybody else is going to be more afraid to talk about it. Like, they will. Like, I remember even whenever it first happened, I was a little bit uncertain because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I heard these guys were getting sued. I didn't really know what was happening. I'm glad I watched it, but I think people just hear that you get sued for doing something and they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, which is understandable.
Not able to discuss their case,
but
that's
it's
going to
understandable.
hurt their case. So they're asking the judge to narrow or strike the takedown, clarify that the order does not bind the law Gormans, or just decline to give a preliminary injunction. So say, hey, everybody can speak about things. There's no limits. And let's look at the legal standard here. This is very important. For intervention, there's really two types of intervention. Number one, intervention as a right, and number two, permissive intervention. There is a very strong argument under the rules of procedure, which I had a chance to go look up and discuss with some of my Utah colleagues. There's some strong points for intervention here under the permissive intervention. That is because there's common issues of law and fact, because the scope of the injunction is too broad, it's chilling speech, that's First Amendment, that's a problem, and because, and this is a very key fact, that restraining...
This is a lot of people do this, is that they file lawsuits in order to hopefully shut down public conversation. It's super, super common.
Order
really
mentions
annoying.
Specifically Brian and Crystal. So it literally name drops them. And because they've got their names in that order, they've got a strong reason to intervene and to be pulled in this case. So when you look at my judgment here and what I think is going to happen, this is a very smart, limited play by the law Gormans to protect their own case while also getting good PR. Everybody is on the side against BAM right now, it seems like, and they're able to come in and say, hey, we're helping Reckless Ben. We're on the side of good here. We're coming in and doing a positive thing by opening this up, by not, have restricting speech, by allowing free speech. And I do think they have a very clear interest to intervene, and going over the odds and talking to people about it, I think they've got about a 75 to 80% chance of intervening and having an effect here. So that doesn't mean necessarily that the judge is going to get rid of the TRO, but just for them to be permitted to intervene and then the judge to consider what they said seriously. So I think they're probably allowed to do that. Now, one clear thing here is not everybody can intervene. A lot of times, many people want to step in the case.
Well, I mean, for them, it makes sense because they were directly involved. They were part of the entire thing. I mean, them being involved is like a pivotal point of the entire case. Why would they not be allowed to be involved?
Want to get involved, but the judge says no. There's no, in this case, they don't have a right, 100% right to come into the case, but the judge has a good reason to permit them to come into the case. I think there's a 75 to 80% chance they come in on that.
Yeah.
And if this happens, if this indeed happens, they're allowed to come in. Reckless Ben's part 3, his whole strategy now opens up. It gives him a lot more leverage. So I am absolutely waiting to see what happens with this TRO, with this hearing that is coming up very shortly. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on
as far as I know. Yeah, I mean, this is a short video. I just, I've been keeping up with all of this, right? I am I'm a big fan of Ben. Obviously, I spoke to him very, very shortly. I really hope that he's able to do something about this. I do. I am so, so worried about this guy getting shut down or shut out or something. I am very concerned about it, but I'm not going to be too stressed out or worried until it's actually over. Yeah, and the solution? No, I just think they need to give the fucking Legos back. And I also think that Bricks and Minifigs, like, I would never let them forget the fact that they did this, because I say this every time I talk about this topic. Their goal was to completely destroy Ben's life systematically through the legal system. Like, that was insane.